Welcome to the Hot Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. The March 31st show kicked And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another live edition of the Hot Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hot Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful St. Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome to Thursday. Get ready, December the 19th in the year of our good Lord 2024. Soon to be 25, but not yet. And we thank you guys for tuning in. We got a big show ahead of us. It's our Christmas special. A little different than the usual Christmas special. We're not, no Christmas songs. You got to understand, guys, when I play music on this show or I pull clips, the internet goes crazy. Years ago, nobody paid attention. Now I get shows blocked. They take me off the air. I got to write letters. It's a nightmare. And I just don't do it anymore. So we'll celebrate Christmas just by being together and talking about our favorite Christmas memories and our Christmas, what we like to do and shows and a whole bunch of good Christmas stuff. So sit back, relax. Jeff's trying to get on again. I think he still having problems. I think Santa Claus has got to bring Jeff a new computer soon. Forget the new bases, Jeff. We need new computers. But we got a lot to talk about. The Yankees have had, if you look at it from the outside, I would think that it's a good possibility that the Yankees not getting Juan Soto was the best thing that happened. And I'll explain it in depth a little bit. The Giants are still a mess. The Jets are a mess. The NFL playoffs, we're starting to narrow down the picture. We got a few injuries to concerns. We got lots to talk about. Nico, one of the giants of the metal world, has retired. Another giant of the NFL is now coaching in college, and so much more. We got the 30 for 30 that I watch on the Sack Exchange. Lots to talk about, plenty to do, but none of that happens until I get my buddy on the thing. So while he is up on the screen, let me bring on my buddy of 40 years, a guy I'm celebrating another Christmas with, and just a great, my good buddy. He is, of course, the Blackest Sabbath, Mr. Jeff Talwinski. We lost him again. He's gone again. All right, listen, I tried. He's out there, but we just don't know where he is. He's all locked up. We'll see what happens. We'll keep it up and see what happens when he does pop up. But in the meantime, again, lots to talk about in the world of sports and music. It's that time of year. I hope you guys are out there and you're planning a big celebration. There's 1 or 2 days a year that if you wanted to find me, you know exactly where I'm going to be. Now, listen, I ain't the party animal I used to be. I ain't running around playing sports anymore. Most days you catch me at home, but there's 1 day a year, every year, no matter where in the world I am, I got to be one place, and that's Christmas Eve at my mom and dad's house. So, to me, everyone ever says the same thing. What do you do? Any special plans? And I say, yeah, I special every December 24th. I go up the street, and we eat too much food, and we talk too loud. And we just get to spend about 3 hours. It's kind of toned down. Growing up when I was a kid, they tell the stories that they used to sleep over and there was 20 people on floors, and that those days are long gone. Even the days of the 5 or 6 hour Christmas is probably long gone. But we get to mom and dad's 4 or 5 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock it's winding down. But it's okay. It's still 3 or 4 hours of a lot of fun, a lot of good eating. And always good memories. And it gets more and more crowded every year. We seem to add to the to the roster every year. So looking forward to this one, which is of course Tuesday night. I am on a 2-week hiatus from work, which is always a good thing. Let's see if we get Jeff back up. He's out there. He's trying. He's doing what he can. He's Mr. Jeff, but he's not on yet. So we'll talk a lot of Christmas stuff tonight. We got a lot of sports to talk about. I got some music to talk about, and of course, as we gear up toward our big year-end show, which will be I don't know if we've decided, is the year-end show next Thursday or the Thursday after New Year's? I'm not sure yet. There he is. What's up there, Mr. Talwinski? He is frozen. Christmas this year, Santa's bringing Jeff a new computer. Jeff? Frozen? Unfreezing? Jeff? Hello, Jeff? Mr. Jeff? Hey, wait. I'll keep talking. He's got to fix it. Maybe he's got to reboot again. I don't know, but I'm assuming you guys all see me out there and hear me. So in the meantime, we'll talk a lot of Christmas. Let's see what my pop's got to talk about this week, and we'll get the show kicked off. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? I see Jeff's frozen.
It looks like sometimes I'd say he sounds his best right now.
Yeah. It's a tough week. I have to sit here and help your mother.
Oh boy,
and I get to try everything.
It's a tough week. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes it takes a few times.
Yeah,
to get it.
Yeah, you need 3 or 4 samples. I get it, Pop. I get it.
Yeah,
it's a tough week for you. I get it.
Hey, Jeff, is he on?
I don't know. I get a little movement. It gets better and better, so he's got to just bear with it. But he'll eventually get on here. But
I was watching the Yankees.
Yep.
It seems like I have to agree with you. I think in the long run, I think what they're doing was better off that they didn't get Soto.
Well, here's the question that you would ask, and I don't know if you'd ever get the real answer from anybody. But if the Yankees signed Soto, would they have signed Max Fried? Would they have signed Cody Bellinger? That's the question. If the answer is yes, then we missed out on a big opportunity. If the answer is probably not, then I say right now we're a better team than we were last year.
You have to be.
Yeah. So,
and to be honest with you, I was hoping they got Soto, but like you said, once you watch it and you see, we had Judge, who's a better ball player.
Yes.
I mean, just 2 MVPs, home run king. I mean, he's just.
Yeah, listen, I would say there's a decent chance you can make the argument that Soto might be a better hitter than Judge. I still say no. Judge hits for average, hits for power. He's won 2 MVPs. Soto is a great hitter. I don't know he's a great all-around player. I wouldn't say he's a great defensive player. I would not say he's a great base runner. He's got a good arm, really good arm. But, again, I take Juan Soto in a heartbeat, and I would have signed him for the $700 million. If they took him, I'd be happy about it. But if you told me that it was $700, and then I was getting Ben Rice at first, and I was getting some, career minor leaguer at third, we weren't going to be a better team. We just weren't.
I think the Yankees took Bellinger for a year or two, and that's only my idea.
Possible,
sure. A year or two, and they're going to wind up putting Judge first base, which.
Well, I mean, Bellinger he's 29 years old. He plays center field. He's a damn good defensive center fielder. If Bellinger hits the next 2 years, and he's Yankee for 2 years, this year and next year. If he hits, then I could see him being in. Now, is he going to get a 10-year, $700 million deal? No, the answer is absolutely not. But if Cody Bellinger for the next 5 years, hit anywhere from 3 to 5 in the Yankee order and hit 30 home runs a year, hitting in front of or behind Judge, I'd say it's it's a good deal.
I think what they did was, in the long run, the right thing. It's easy to say now, but they had too many holes in their infield, their outfield.
Right. Listen, they made it to the World Series last year because they had two of the best hitters in the game. And let's be honest, the American League wasn't that good. You know, and a lot of other years they would never have made it. They had holes at second base, hole at third base until they got Chisholm. Left field was terrible with Verdugo all year. You know, they had no closer until Weaver finally stepped up late in the season. You know, the Yankees were a mess, and they still have a hole. They still, if Bellinger plays center field, who plays first? If he plays first, who plays center field? They still need a third baseman. They still need a left fielder. You know, I mean, I think their rotation's as good as I've seen in a long time, potentially.
I think their pitching's good.
Yeah.
I think, but they had too many holes. I mean, too many injuries. Indian Pro, too many.
Yeah.
I think it should work out good.
Well, again, I think at this point, you're already a better team. Let me say this. I think they're as good as they were last year right now, even without Soto, because Bellinger is not an upgrade, but Bellinger fills a big hole over Rizzo. Fried is a major upgrade of the rotation, and you got a legitimate closer. So you're already a little bit better team. I would like to see another bat at third base. Now, do I want them going to? Does it have to be free agent? Can it be a trade? It could be anything. They need a left fielder. Now, I'd like to see the kid Dominguez get a shot to play. So I think that might be the answer right there. And then you need a third baseman. So whatever that comes from. But, I would tell you right now, yes, the Mets sign Juan Soto. They're going to get all the big news clippings. But one more signing or one more trade, and the Yankees have had just as good or maybe a better offseason than the Mets at this point. The Mets, they lost Severino. They signed Soto. They haven't brought back Alonso, which may be a plus. They haven't fixed. They got to fix a bunch of spots too. So we'll see. It's very early. Don't forget that last year, a lot of these guys didn't sign until February.
That's true too.
Yeah. So
it should be an interesting winter.
Yeah.
And I think their pitching is good. I just think they need. Rizzo was a good ball player, but he was just hurt too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Constantly
100%.
out.
If he could stay healthy, he would give you 25 home runs and play great defense and be a good clubhouse guy. He just couldn't stay healthy. Some of it wasn't his fault. He get hit with baseballs, or somebody dives. Somebody dives back into you, and all the crazy ways he got hurt. You don't blame him, but at some point you got to stay on the field. And if you can't stay on the field, it just doesn't matter.
So he's trying again.
Yeah, I got him trying in again. So, but it is what it is, and Mets have a lot of work to do, and they will. Frank, I don't disagree. I do believe the Mets aren't done. I think right now they're concentrating on the Japanese pitcher. Hey, Jeff.
What's up? Can you hear me?
We got you now. Yeah.
Hello, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
Goodbye, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, there you are. Stay with it, because it didn't happen last week. You were in and out, and it got better and better. So stick with it.
Yeah. How long this lasts?
Well, let's get you. Again, we got you. Let's just in and out. So, but Frankie, I think the Mets still have holes. I think they have to shore up the pitching staff. I'm assuming they're going after the Japanese kid, like everybody else is. And who's playing first, who's playing third. You got some holes to fill. Second base, maybe a little bit of bullpen help. So again, if he's going to spend the money and fix all those things, or you got some stuff in the minors, but I know they did. The Yankees already did too. I don't know where he's going to wind up. They say it could be he may want. I heard the leader in the clubhouse is the Padres. But with all those Japanese guys on the Dodgers, who knows? Is he a Yankee fan? There's a kid maybe wants to. If all the money's equal, where does he want to play? Who knows? So at this point, I don't know. And whoever shows up on opening day, that's who I'm rooting for. We'll see. Jeff,
I'm gonna let you go, Tom.
All right, Pops.
Hopefully, if you're listening, wish them a happy holiday from us.
I will definitely do
Jeff,
that.
the same thing. and I'll see you over the weekend, Pop.
Yep, I will definitely see you over the weekend, Pops.
All right, talk to you later.
See you later. That's my dad. He comes by every week, and he's out here celebrating with us. He wishes all you guys a Merry Christmas. He was a Yankee fan as a kid. Yeah, Frank Jeffrey, I get it. I think that it's, it's all the money. If the money's all equal now, it's just a matter of where do you want to play. I think almost though the allure of it's the Yankees with, we talk about like people like Frank Catalano who grew up a Bronco fan in Staten Island, Frank Jeffrey who grew up a Dolphin fan, a little bit of a Steeler fan, because those teams were so prominent in the era when there was 3 channels. I think the same thing with baseball. I think, for years it was the Yankees because they were in the World Series every year and you got to watch it every year. So, around the world, around the country, the Yankees dominated for so many years that a lot of people became Yankees. Now, it turned some people off, don't get me wrong, but they were so recognizable. In today's day and age, the last 20 years with cable and streamings and, all sorts of satellite TVs, there's so many ways to see baseball games that it's not the same anymore. So, while it was, the Yankees dominated, the Dodgers dominated because of where they were always in the World Series. It seemed it's different now. But he did say he would. Yeah, I think when you come to the Japanese players, they're always going to tend to be on the West Coast because it's a shorter flight. It's easier for their friends and family and fans, for that matter, to see them on TV. The time difference is less. So I always say that the West Coast team has the big advantage with the Japanese players. And I think sometimes the East Coast teams have the bigger advantage with the Dominican players, the South American kids. But I think at the end of the day, these guys are going to go, the international league players are going to go to the team that best suits them because the money's all the same. Everybody's paying the same money. So, it's absolutely a little different. When it comes to guys like that, like I say, if they get them, they get them. They don't, because you have no idea, how many guys have come here and done well. Even guys who are great here. I mean, other than Ohtani, how many of them have been great? Arabu was one. Hideki Arabu was one of the best pitchers in Japan at the time. He came here, was a bust. Hideki Matsui was a great player. The Babe Ruth of Japan. He was a really good player here. Ichiro was a great player there and a great player here. If Ichiro played here in America for his career, even for 5 more years, that guy would have broke every record, every hitting record there was. Yankee fans, especially the reason why the Yankees haven't signed Walkers is they're waiting to meet this kid. Again, I don't know. I don't want the Yankees to sign Alonso, but it does make sense for the short term. If you can get him on a short deal, it makes sense. He'll hit behind Judge. He'll hit a lot of homers in Yankee Stadium. I don't know if he makes a better team, but he still got some pop in his bat. Do I want him long term? I do not. I don't think the Mets do either. I think it goes against the infield the Yankees are trying to put together because he's not a great first baseman. I mean, you really want Walker, but that, is it realistic to think you're going to get Walker? I read today that they were this close to a 3-team deal to get Nolan Oriando. Is that really going to happen? Listen, you're talking about putting an all-star team out there next year, which, by the way, guys, doesn't always work. So, but so far, what I've seen, yeah, Jeff definitely has the Jets internet service. Yes, you're right, Frankie. They do lose money on the international by certain by doing that. But yeah, again, I think at the end of the day, the Mets, you could stamp and say they had a great offseason. They got the one thing they didn't have last year was that face of the franchise, that superstar play. I mean, Lindor was really good the second half of last year. Lindor was great. Lindor, to me, is not a superstar player. He's a great number 2 guy. And with Soto, I think they have that. There's still a lot of holes. And again, same thing that the Yankees would have had. The question is going to be, how do the Mets finish that hole? Now, Move, not sign Alonso, move Vientos to first, play Beatty at third, try that. You're going to sign Alonso. Hope you get a better season out of him and keep Vientos at third. It's a good infield. It's not terrible. Yeah, I don't. I'm thankful. There's two things in this world I never want. One, I don't know what I'd ever do if the Giants draft Shedeur Sanders. I might have to shoot myself if that ever happens. And the other thing I would never want the Yankees to do is to get Vlad Guerrero. I honestly tell you the truth. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. is one of the most overrated players. I think that team itself is completely overrated. Bichette, all of those guys, I think they're all overrated. They never come up big. They never win big games. Now, maybe he goes someplace else, and he said Vlad Guerrero Jr. he don't want to ever play for the Yankees. That's good. I can only hope and pray. And I do. Every day when I pass the church, I pray that Shedeur Sanders and Dion decide they don't want the kid to play for the Giants because I could not root for them. And we'll talk about the Giants tonight. I'm going to talk about what I think should happen to Dable and Shane. Let's see. Yeah, Frankie, I'm now. You're not. I think I think we get caught up. Vlad Guerrero Sr. was a great player, a Hall of Fame player. It's very rare, and I say it's rare. It doesn't happen as much as you think when you get the father was a great player and then the son pops up underneath it. The likelihood is it's not going to happen. It's not good. He's not going to be as good as the father, or in most cases better. But Vlad Guerrero Jr. is not his father. He's not even close to the athlete his father is, and he's an overrated player. He's not a guy I'd want as a Yankee. That's for sure. He's not. I'm so thankful that he doesn't want to be a Yankee. So he's not great, Frank Catalano. He's not great. He's a really good player. But everybody's so eager to say he's a great player. Everybody's a great player. They're not. Sometimes they're just really good, but they're not great. You got a bunch of guys on that team who are really good players. They can't win. I mean, the Orioles have leapfrogged them. The Yankees are still better than them. Where are they finishing? 3 every year? Hold on, let's try Jeff again. I got him up. Jeffrey. Greasy's better than Bob. I
Can
love
you hear
Frank.
me?
I can, sir. Yes, I can. Yes. I hear you, Jeff.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Well, here's hoping I'm on now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go, Jeff. Jeff, let's start it up. How was your week? Now you froze.
I guess not.
No, there you are. There you are. Keep talking because it'll get better. Are you talking about?
What's up, Frank Catalano?
Yep, we hear you, Jeff. I hear you. So, Jeff, how was your week?
All right. What's going on?
Not much, man. We're just sitting there getting ready to.
Most of it was spent trying to get on the show tonight.
I got a feeling Santa Claus is stopping by and giving you a brand new computer.
Listen, I hope he just cleans this one up, man. This one, there's nothing wrong with this one up until a couple of weeks ago, but whatever. I'm on now. I guess it takes 20 minutes to get on this.
I guess so. Listen, I think from now on, you got to start trying to get on at 6:30.
Dude, I've been trying since about 10-2.
Really?
Yeah, 10 to 7. Next week I'll start even earlier.
There you go. So we're here for the big Christmas spectacular, and we thank everybody here. But going back to Brian Greasy was a heck of a college player, not a great one. And again, another guy just didn't take up. But is he better than Bob? That's a really good question. I don't know. Last time sure sounds like there was something wrong with him. Anyway, so Jeff, it's a Christmas, and let's start off with some Christmas talk. First off, a couple of weeks ago, I had told you that they had the special edition of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I DVR'd it. It was 75 minutes, which is about 15 minutes longer. I watched.
Which, by the way, they played at least one other time since then.
Okay, I did not see it, but so I have every one of them on DVR. I have a plan on watching them all, but I did want to watch that one because I was really curious to see what was different, like why there was 15 extra minutes. And I watched the whole thing, and I didn't see one scene that I didn't see before.
You've seen them before. They cut them out one time before.
So they cut out 15 minutes worth of scenes before and just spliced them all back together?
I remember years ago.
Okay.
That, that's Dave Murray. That's was something I wanted to watch. I wanted to talk to you about. So write that one down for now.
But I got it because we're going to talk about Nico. So, no problem.
They had a extended scenes.
Okay.
Not different scenes, extended scenes. And then they phased them out or cut them out or whatever the case was. I always remember Rudolph being about an hour. So it
was always an hour. So I was trying to figure out what was an hour and 15 minutes. And I maybe there was more commercials than normal. I don't know. But I watched it start to finish. I haven't watched it start to finish in a long time, I'd have to say. Enjoyed every minute of it. It was brought back a lot of memories, but I did not notice any scene that I had never seen before, if that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. You've definitely saw the scenes that were left out before in the past.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe that might be the reason why to fit more commercials, but they definitely shortened some of it. One was like when Santa was talking to Rudolph and Hermie or something. Mm-hmm. There was one there before they took off. There was another one with Hermie, dentist thing.
Yep.
There was like 2 or 3 that were cut out. If you watched, I have both the new one, the 75-minute one, and the 60-minute one. You would definitely see the difference.
Now I'll say this also: having watched it now for the first time full length in a while, I've come to say, I would say that Santa is a douchebag. So Santa made fun of Rudolph. Wouldn't let him in the club. There's all sorts of bullying going on. Poor Hermie couldn't be a dentist. All the misfit toys. I gotta tell you, I was very disappointed in Santa.
I gotta tell you, you sound woke.
I'm anti-woke. To me,
listen, you're woke. You're talking about bullying and everything else.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what happens?
When
you get bullied, you step up and you punch the guy in the face. If something happens and he knocks you out, then you know not to fuck with him, and then he can make fun of you.
Oh, I don't say that.
If you make fun of me,
yep,
I don't like it. Yep. I go over to you and I tell you, Tom, shut your fucking mouth. Right. And you're like, no, I'm not going to shut my mouth. Make me shut my mouth. So then I go over, I take a swing at you. I graze your chin, and then you're like, oh, you're fucking serious. And then you knock me the fuck out. Then I know, okay, I can't fuck with him.
I got you. And Rudolph did too.
Hey, listen, you know who else would have used it too? Frank Catalano? Definitely not Bo.
Not Bo.
No, I've been fucking with Frank all day. I had nothing else to do, Frank, all day. So you were the target of. You kept me busy for a few hours. I thank you.
So it's the Christmas time. So I ask this question every year, and I'll ask it again this year. So, but I'm gonna ask it a little differently. Normally, I would say, what was your favorite Christmas? Let me ask you this, Jeff. Holiday season, not necessarily Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Holiday season. Okay, last 2 weeks before Christmas. What is the perfect night for Jeff?
Oh man, you know what, Tom? There's so many different things that can happen. So maybe it's a last minute supper that it consisted of maybe some like little hors d'oeuvres and some cheese because you didn't feel like going out and that's all it was. And maybe a glass. I know it's going to sound stupid, but when I was a kid, my father used to use this glass for soda. It was a bigger glass, and he put ice in there and everything else, and the soda would be ice cold. Because normally I just keep my soda in the refrigerator. So sometimes, certain times when I use a certain glass, it makes me think back to when I was a kid. Yeah. And I'd ask him, like, could I have my soda in that glass? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. And he'd pour me some soda, put some ice cubes in it. So, like things like that remind me of when I was a little kid. And then I remember, like, the last couple of days, we've been going to the store to get something for dinner. I picked up a couple things for Christmas from the food store, whether it was like artichoke hearts or olives or something like that. I've been making everything, but I remember specifically my mother getting provolone and pepperoni.
Nice.
Even if I don't eat it, I will have provolone and pepperoni in this house for the Christmas season, specifically Christmas Eve. I
Gotcha.
also told my wife every year I cannot eat dinner or a large meal on Christmas Eve until it's dark. I refuse to eat anything while it's still daylight out. I mean, my wife makes like shrimp cocktail. We have an antipasto, stuff like that. I'll have out, but like as far as the main food, we don't do that until it gets dark out.
Nice.
And the later the better. If it was up to me, I wouldn't be eating until about 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's the way. It's Christmas Eve, man.
Yeah,
it's not Christmas Day. It's Christmas daytime. It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, my mom does 5 o'clock. Everybody shows up. There's the antipasto on the table, shrimp cocktail, all of that, and then you're about an hour and change from sitting down for the full meal at that point. So I don't think we've ever done an earlier version of it. I'm sure as a kid, yes, but as an adult, it's usually because usually I'm working. This happens to be the first year I'm going to be my company's shutting down for 2 weeks after tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I was pretty happy about it. So yeah, I've for years I've always talked about I want to take the week off between Christmas and New Year's, and I've never done it. And my reason is always last minute. I go, nobody else is working. It's really quiet. And I can zip in and out of the city every day. So why not take advantage of that period where there's nobody in? I can, and then, but this year it was out of my hands. It's out of my hands. They decided we're going to shut it all down. Everybody's getting a 2-week break, and we're going to sit back and I'm going to sit back and enjoy it.
I got a question for both Franks. Frank Catalano, would you come to the island for Christmas and spend time with family on the island? Frank Jeffrey, how is it that you want to go to Florida?
Well, he's telling me, am I Florida bound, basically?
Well, I know that, but it's warm. Christmas is supposed to be some cold weather.
It is tough, but I got to tell you, when I stand on my balcony and I look out and all the palm trees are lit up Christmas style, dude, it is beautiful.
Listen, I'm sure it looks beautiful, but it's just a thought to me that
I get it.
It could be 80 degrees and humid. It's just that's not December weather. It's not Christmas.
I get it.
I don't like that.
I get it. And when I was in Florida, before Thanksgiving, you're walking to the store, you're in shorts and a t-shirt, a tot out, and you walk into the store and they're playing Christmas music. You go, oh yeah, it's almost Christmas time. So it is a little different. I'm not going to Florida this year because the big problem for me was the jam. If the jam wasn't Monday, I would be leaving right after Christmas and heading down. But I didn't want to miss the jam. I didn't want to cancel it. I didn't want to miss it. So I decided to we're not going to go, and that's it. So otherwise I would be spending New Year's in Florida. That's where I was hoping.
I feel bad for you that maybe your plans got changed, but I'm happy that you're going to be at the jam. It's great. But Frank, I'm not out at 2, 3 in the morning, man. If I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning, it's because I got to take a squirt. Not because I'm out there partying. That's for damn sure.
Frank Jeffrey, I would be living it up with you down in Florida if it wasn't for the jam. If that jam was 2 days earlier, I'd be New Year's Eve in Florida hanging. Like I said, I'll always spend Christmas up here because of the kids, because of my parents. No matter what happens, I will be here for Christmas. But if my hope this year was to spend New Year's in Florida, just like I said, it just got to be. It was too damn expensive to fly down for 4 or 5 days at the last minute. So it is what it is. But I'm happy. I'm going to get to spend some time at home, clean up some stuff. I'll do some hanging out. I'm going to make my way onto the island to go see Jeff for a day somewhere in the middle of that. Are you on your vacation, your yearly vacation yet?
Yeah, I've been on vacation. Where was I on vacation? When did I start vacation? Yesterday. Today's Thursday, right? I even forgot what fucking day it is already.
Today's Thursday, yes. 40, 50 degrees, like around 78, like 70. You get, yeah, Frankie. I agree with Frankie. I think at this time it's perfect down there. It's warm enough in the daytime where you're not running when you have to run around, but at night you can open a couple windows, get a nice little breeze. It's yeah, I agree with Frankie, man. This time of year is just perfect down there.
That's not for me. That's not for me.
Merry Christmas, Mrs. T. Merry Christmas.
What's up, mother?
So. But yeah, so luckily I spent Christmas Eve up the block. For me, in the middle of all the craziness, a night where I can sit on the couch with the tree on. We can put on some Christmas movies, and just kind of relax.
I've actually tried, okay,
True.
and tried to envision Christmas like when we have the barbecue.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, were you here this year for the barbecue?
Yes.
Okay. I had lights on the railing.
Yes.
Okay. And they were pink lights because Sharon wanted to put. She had flowers up there, so the pink lights they blended in. It looked nice, but okay, it worked for me. But I was like, imagine if they were Christmas lights, and then I had a set of Christmas lights up in my bathroom that was behind the mirror. So I put them up. I put the lights on, and I'm like, it's too hot. Yeah. Just outside, it's like 80 degrees. I'm sorry, I can't do Florida, man. I've never been in Florida. And I don't want to experience Florida,
listen. I get
like the heat, I don't like the heat.
Yeah,
I like the heat.
Listen. I get it. It's no different than living up here. It's hot, and let me tell you something. July here and July there, it ain't much different. The difference for me for Florida is even in the winter when it's cold, it's 40 degrees. Here when it's cold, like next week, it's going to be 20s and 30s. Ain't fun anymore. That ain't fun anymore.
No. You know what? Listen, you're 100% right. It's not fun. Put on a different layer. Put on another layer. Put on a sweatshirt. Put on a heavier jacket.
One of these days.
And first of all, at your age, what the fuck are you doing outside when it's that cold anyway?
Well, again, I got to go to work. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm just saying. So I don't have a choice. If I was retired and I could stay in the house on the cold days, maybe I feel differently. But for me,
when I'm at work and guys call me up and they're like, "Listen, you got to come over here. This is going on." You know what I tell them?
What?
No, I don't. No, I don't. You need to figure this out. If you need me there, then we have a bigger problem. You don't want me there.
Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. When the guys say I need you here, I'm climbing. The other day, last Friday, I was on to 21st floor, 18th floor of a building, and my guys had to make a correction on an archway, and I was trying to lay it out, and I was so cold. All I kept thinking to myself was, I hope somebody throws me down a flight of stairs, and I crack my skull open so that the blood will drip all over me and warm me up. Because I was so cold.
Listen, it's one thing to be cold out, but
listen, I get it.
It is too cold. I mean, only fooling around. It is too cold.
You need to experience Florida in November and December. You will go, oh my God, this is great.
I could prove to you that I would not like Florida.
Why? You ever been there?
I'm going to prove to you right now. You have to be in Florida to not like Florida.
Okay.
2015.
Yep.
We did the Toys for Tots thing with the AJ Perro. No, that wasn't AJ Perro. That was
it's just Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots. And then on Christmas Eve,
yes,
you would ask me to meet you at Staten Island Hospital dressed up as Santa Claus. And I did.
Correct.
Remember?
Yes, you did. Yep.
You bought the only woolen outfit in my size.
You were sweating. I tell you that suit stayed in a bag for years.
So if I were you, before I took it out of the bag, I would dip it in water and take it out. It might not smell as bad.
Oh my God!
But I fucking sweat my nuts off.
Yes.
And I had shorts on underneath and everything else. And then we went in to all the kids, if you remember.
Yes.
But there was no kids.
There were no kids. Yes.
And the only ones that were there were like out of it, totally sleeping newborn.
Dude, if I tell you that I drove around for hours trying to give away those toys, we finally found an organization in Jersey who would take them all. And I drove all over the place. I can't tell how many places my wife and I went to until we finally found somebody who wanted, because we were told by a friend that somebody that Staten Island Hospital wanted the toys. And we showed up today, and they were like, "We don't want the toys." We had no
They didn't have no kids to give the toys to.
So
what we should have done that moment was go to a poorer neighborhood on the east shore of the island. There's plenty of them over there. North shore of the island. Stop at a corner and just be like, yo, throw them out of the car. Merry Christmas, and just leave, man. The nature would have taken its course.
Oh my God.
Would have gotten presents.
Well, I never forget driving going, we can't give away toys. I can't even believe this. But it was well worth it. We had a good time, and the toys did go to a great organization, and they did give it away, and so it did work out. But yes, our adventure at Staten Island Hospital was, to say the least, memorable. So, but so listen, it is Christmas time. I love this time of year. In fact, today was the first day I looked up and went, Christmas is almost here, and it's disappointing for me because I know once Christmas gets here, it's over. And I know it has to happen. That's the way life works. The calendar shows up. It ain't every day ain't Christmas. But I just do love this whole period. People so nice.
Yes.
People are back to saying Merry Christmas everywhere. I've been in a few of the malls. I'm hearing the Christmas music playing. To me, this is what it's all about while I'm up here. But like I said, to me, standing on my balcony, I could see a bunch of different places. And I'm telling you, I know you think I'm crazy, but if you ever got the chance to see like these 30-foot palm trees all lit up in Christmas colors, it is one of the most beautiful things you can ever see. And I love it. And like I said, if it hadn't been for the jam on Monday night, if that jam was Friday or Saturday, I'd be in Florida for New Year's, probably meeting up with Frankie somewhere. But I wouldn't miss the jam for the world. So one night of the year we all get together, it seems, and I wasn't going to miss it. So we decided to stick it home, and there'll be other chances to head down to Florida for a vacation. In the meantime, I'll hang here. I'll come over and kick your ass in some
name the day.
PlayStation baseball. No, we'll pick a day.
Name the day. I'll be here waiting. I'll cancel whatever plans I have.
We'll talk off the air. We'll pick. I got 2 weeks free. So, hey, Catalano and Jeffrey, answer a question for me that I don't have the answer to. Why did the Rangers trade Capo Caco? I don't understand. Like all of a sudden, he's the guy who got traded. So, do you guys have any insight on why the Rangers made that trade? Because it seemed odd. It seemed like an odd trade for me. Didn't seem like they got a lot back for that one. So. Maybe one of you guys can.
Wasn't he causing them problems or something?
I don't know. Yeah, Frank, I don't blame you on the cold. So you put chemotherapy or not. I know they suck, Catalano. That I get. I get that. I've watched them play. It just didn't make any sense to me. I'm looking at it now. Unless he's the guy in the locker room causing an issue, but I can't believe he'd be a clubhouse lawyer. I know none of them are playing well, so I don't know why he got traded and didn't seem like they got much back for him. So I didn't understand it, and they have more problems than Capo Caco, that's for sure. So we'll see. Hockey season's long, so they got plenty of time to turn it around. But the way they're playing, I mean,
I gotta go to the bathroom. Give me one.
I did not mind the Trouba trade. I hate Trouba. Every time I looked around, he's either elbowing somebody in the head or he was trying to skate back to get to turn and chase the puck because he got beat. Somebody going around him. So Trouba is overrated as a player, constantly in the box. Didn't mind that trade. I didn't understand the Kako trade. I don't think he's a great player, but I just understand why. Last year they had a trade for two better players, and they had to give. I don't know. And yes, I know it's football season. I get that, but it's we talk sports here, so I thought maybe I throw a little sports into the mix. What do you think, Catalano? Yeah, Trouba to me has been overrated for 3 years. I don't know if he was ever great, but the last 2 years, especially in the playoffs, the guy's constantly getting beat. Constantly gets beat around, and it seemed like every other minute he was in the penalty box for throwing an elbow to somebody's head. So, I know. Yeah, well for you, I get it, Catalina. Your team's okay. Okay, I got it. I root for the Giants. What can I tell you? I gotta tell you, I'm rooting for the Lions at this point in my life, and even them, I'm not. I think I put the mush on them right now. I think I gave the Lions the mush. Hey, by the way, did you guys get an email from me from the league yesterday? I never get responses, so I don't know if people get the emails. Did you guys get the email I sent out? Yeah, that is Frank Jeffrey. Yes, he's definitely tried to dig us at this point. Yeah, and I don't blame him. His team's got a half a chance. You didn't notice what, Catalano? You didn't notice the email, or you didn't notice that you were digging at us? But again, Hot Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom on the air. We're celebrating Christmas. I want to get to the Iron Maiden stuff. We got. I want to talk about the 30 for 30, the sack exchange. I watched that. That was interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about whether Mark Gastineau's a Hall of Famer or not. Not. Oh, okay. So you didn't know. Check your spam. See if you got an email in there from me. I sent it yesterday.
Oh yeah, I got to get your Zelle information.
Okay, I'll see you. You I'm going to run into. Some of the other guys I don't run into.
Oh, I want to get it to you. I've been telling you, I've been sending it to you for the last month, and I still have it.
All right, no worries. But all right, so we'll talk a lot more. We'll talk a lot more about Die Hard being a Christmas movie and all that good stuff. So yeah, watch the sack exchange thing. Let's talk about it real quick. Then we'll talk Maiden. I want to talk about that, but it was an interesting documentary. You forget how good those guys were, and they really were great. I mean, watching that documentary, you realize like individually they were all really good players. Klecko was the only one who was great, but they were all really good players. But the whole notion that Jeff, you haven't seen it yet, right?
No, I have not.
Yeah, you got to catch on ESPN. You got to find it out. Have your wife look for it and DVR it. You have to watch it. It's very interesting. But
let me ask you something. Why is Mark Gastineau not a Hall of Famer?
Why is he not? He was a one-dimensional player at best. At
All
best,
right, well, he actually has no stats. I'm looking at his stat page right now. And from what I could see, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro.
Yep.
They have him listed at 100.
He was a defensive player of the year. He was a defensive player of the year one year.
Well, he played 137 games, and I guess they have him down for 107 sacks. I guess they counted that, but it wasn't an official stat.
No.
Now, I know that you and a few others around here on this side of the screen are all anti-Jet people, but it was a different era in football, different time and everything in football. I'm not saying he was the greatest, but evidently he had his share of sacks. And
if you want to say he's a Hall of Fame sack artist, maybe you could say that. He got to the quarterback a lot
of people the wrong way because of how he carried on after.
Oh, absolutely.
He had a sack and
his own teammates. His teammates. I mean, it's funny. He says the only people he liked were his black teammates. Abdul Salam's the only one on that line who liked him at that time. I didn't realize it and forgot he quit in the middle of a season on them. I'd forgotten that. Now
that was with Brigitte Nelson or something.
Yeah, supposedly she found out she had cancer and he stayed home. But he never went into his teammates and said, "Hey guys, here's what's going on." He just didn't show up one day, just stopped coming. So and before that, his teammates they did not. You watch Marty Lyons, watch Klecko. They'll flat out tell you they didn't like the guy. But Mark Gastineau was a really good was a really good defensive end who got to the quarterback, but he never played the run. And I'm sorry, I can't tell you that I would vote for a guy who was a one-dimensional player. So
from what I remember about that team and that line, every single play, one of them was in the backfield. They were, a great team to watch at that time. Great bunch of guys to watch at that time.
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe if he changed, had a different attitude towards the game,
maybe
people wouldn't be so hard on him. But you're not the only one that's ever said that he's not a Hall of Famer. And
Yeah.
when you're retired for all of these years and you're not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, Klecko took a long time to get in it, and to me, see, here's the difference. If you make Joe Klecko wait nearly 35 or 40 years to get in the Hall of Fame, Joe Klecko was a two-way monster. He was an All-Pro at 3 different positions: defensive end, defensive tackle, and nose tackle. Joe Klecko was a Hall of Famer. It should have been a long time ago, and I don't know why he wasn't. If Joe Klecko couldn't get in until just now, there's no way in the world I'm putting Mark Gastineau in there before Joe Klecko, and he just got in. So, to me, he's a really good player. Came out of a small East Oklahoma State or something. Did things to get into the quarterback. He was a monster for that end, but as a one, he was strictly a one-dimensional player, and he wasn't liked by his own team. His own teammates didn't like him.
Listen, there's a lot of guys that play the game, any game, that aren't liked by their players,
their
teammates. Some of them are great players, some of them are not.
Yeah, and that shouldn't. Listen, it kept Eddie Murray out of the Hall of Fame, kept Jim Rice out of the Hall of Fame because they weren't good guys. And to me, none of that should matter. It strictly should be, are you a great player on the field? And I grade it differently. I just do. To me, will Mark Gastineau get in the Hall of Fame? He'll never get in the Hall of Fame. There would be no backing. Here's the problem. One, he's got no stats because they didn't keep the stat then. 2, the people who are alive today who watched them play, so it's not like 10 years from now they're going to look up and say, well, the guy had 200 sacks. He should have got in, but you didn't see him play. Yeah, but he's got 200 sacks. He doesn't have enough of anything, and there's not enough emotional pull for him. And the truth is, when you watch this thing, he's unlikable. The guy is just flat out unlikable. I pray you get a chance to watch it. Did you see the clip of him chastising Brett Favre?
Yeah. You know what that reminded me of? And yeah, Mike, I hear you. 77 Yankees, they aren't exactly the most tight-knit group of people. They didn't exchange Christmas cards at this time of year. That's for damn sure.
No.
Mark Gastineau struck me as the kind of guy that's old, bitter, and maybe dealing with mental issues at this point in time.
I would agree with that.
Maybe he gets a tapioca at lunchtime and a chocolate pudding at night, and if you mix them up, that's it. It sets him off for the rest of the week. It does not look like he makes many major decisions for himself. And his boner that he had with Brett Favre, he's had that for a long time. He just couldn't wait to deliver that one.
Well, I think he thinks that if he had the sack record for the season still, that it would give him a chance to get into Hall of Fame, and it just doesn't. I listen again, Frankie. I don't know if that was all he was supposed to do. When you watch the sack exchange, when you watch this 30 for 30, it doesn't come across that way. And I don't think that was an error of specialization. Those guys were two-way players, guys. That was just before the sack became this huge thing. Like LT had just kind of gotten started. All of a sudden you saw Tippett and Swilling and all those guys who looked like LT and played like a Ricky Jackson. But it was just before that, don't forget. This is 81, 82. So the sack hadn't become that huge thing yet. So he just wasn't interested in that. He wanted to get sacks and chase the quarterback and everything that went with that. I just don't think
you got to think of something, Tom. With everything that he was doing, and he was there, and he started his career just as sacks, starting to take off and become a recognized stat. He was there long enough, and right before he started playing, 79, 80, and the sacks exchange.
79, I think he was drafted.
81, 82, something like that. So he was only there a couple of years, where they could have went back and they could have said, listen, Mark Gastineau has had 63 sacks in his first 4 years, but unfortunately the NFL only recognizes 15 of them because it wasn't an official record yet. But could you imagine the pace that this guy is on? So they could have covered themselves that way if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could do that with a lot of guys.
That you didn't want, it would be impossible to recognize the whole league for what they did from that point on, almost, because they didn't have the technology that they had today. to recognize that and to count that and to go back through every single game,
Yeah.
and see it. So I mean, it's a little different, but listen, he was there long enough. He was doing a job.
Oh no,
I'm not saying that was his only job. Don't get me wrong, but he went out there. He did what he had to do, and they did it well.
Well, let me ask a question. So the way I look at it is this. So let's say there's 16 games, right? At that point, there's 16 games, and I would say let's say for his career, he averaged 12 sacks a year as an average. Some years he had way more, some years he had a little less. Let's say it's even 15. So theoretically, he's making one play per game. If you think about it, he's making one play a game, whereas a guy who makes 6 tackles, right, makes 3 assists, he's involved on 9 or 10 plays a game. Now, again, I get it. Beside the sacks, they're double teaming him. They block him. I get it. He's a presence. But theoretically, when you're just a sack guy, you're making basically one play per game that's really, really impactful. And that's the problem I have with that.
I understand what you're saying, but even that I can only take so far. And the reason I say that is because at the time, if the coach turned around and said, listen, your 4 guys, your job is to go out and kill the quarterback. I don't care what else you do, get the quarterback. Knock him down, harass him. Don't forget, you got to remember, like another thing that we're not looking at when we talk to him, there was no in the grasp sack rules. There was no out of the pocket sack rules. No. These guys could have thrown the ball 3 seconds ago, get nailed, and nothing was done. It was a completely different game back then.
100%.
I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying how it is. He was the one out of all of them that was the one that was celebrating and dancing and throwing his fists up in the air and carrying on and doing whatever it is he was doing after the sack. Marty Lyons didn't. Abdul Salam didn't because he didn't have the numbers that they did. Joe Klecko, Joe Klecko looked like the slow kid that they made sweep up air in the corner every day before they felt like dealing with him, compared to the other guys.
Joe Klecko was the best player on that team.
Yeah,
but listen, it was a good defense.
They also promised him a bologna sandwich in between quarters too.
Listen, Mike, you got it right. I mean, Klecko and Marty Lyons were 2 fantastic players, and they didn't like Gastineau. And again, I could care less if they like a guy if the guy comes and shows up and does this thing and helps the team. Again, I was not the biggest Jet fan. I watched a lot of Jet games. Watching the documentary, hearing other players and those guys talk about him in the locker room and how it was, very interesting. But Gastineau himself, a lot of plays nowadays, Jeff, when they talk about you didn't make the Hall of Fame, they go, oh, listen, what are you going to do? They take that approach. He is just like, I don't understand. You'll have to explain to me why I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Like, dude, you got to be kidding. Have a little self-reflection here. You were
but you know what, Tom? Don't forget, there's guys now that are doing what he did.
Yep.
They're doing it now compared to what he did back then. They're getting how many millions of dollars?
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, where he might have signed a 5-year deal for $3 million, and everybody's like, "Could you imagine this? $3 million this guy's getting. 5 years, $3 million. He's locked in." Yes, before salary caps and everything else.
Sure.
But these guys of yesteryear, no matter who it is, were not getting the money. The money that these guys are getting now. And now, when they realize that nobody wants to talk to Mark Gastineau or Joe Klecko or Marty Lyons, nobody, Abdul Salami's gone, so nobody can talk to him, of course. But nobody wants to talk to these guys. They have no bearing on the league today, no nothing. They want to talk to today's players, today's heroes and everything else. The guys that make them the millionaires, that are going to be billionaires one day if they do the right thing with their money.
Sure.
And while I hear and understand everything you're saying, it's just that the money is such a factor in all of this, man.
I wouldn't argue that. I definitely think it's definitely a factor. But if you just boil it down to plays in a game and the way guys play the game, there isn't a person that ever watched Mark Gastineau play live who wouldn't say, hey, he can go get the quarterback. And they'd say, but you can run right past them. And that was the truth. Mark Gastineau's first 3 steps were upfield. It was never, let me worry about, I at some point I like to go back and see if they counted his tackles for a season and see what his normal.
I just looked up his stats and it did not give a single tackle.
Okay, so you said they weren't even counting it or whatever, or he didn't have any, which I know is not true. But again, it's an interesting thing. I'd love for when you get to see it. We'll have a better conversation about it. But what you saw in the thing was what you're going to see there.
When you think, and I don't want to spend too much time on this either because it's we got other things that we must touch base about.
Yep.
When you think of a defensive player, okay, for the defensive end, defensive tackle, nose guard, whatever one of the 3 you want to look at, what do you think is a good season for an average defensive tackle? Average.
Well, when you talking about sacks, talking about tackles, what are we talking about?
What's a good stat line for these guys? What would you consider a good stat line for an average defensive tackle? Not an all-pro, not a Pro Bowler, an average.
I would say 7.5, 8 sacks would be a good season. 60, 70 tackles. You want to have about 10 or 12 tackles for a loss, and then you want to get your share of pressures. So in something in that range.
Okay, so now there's another stat that was never taken, that was never counted before, pressures. But let me ask you this: 60 tackles?
Yes, for a tackle.
Tackles, man.
Oh, think about it. If you in a game, you're talking about 3 tackles a game.
Yeah, 3 tackles a game, but that's still a lot, man. I see some guys now, they have 37 to 45 tackles, and I'll be like, he had a good season. 4 pressures, 3 sacks. I hear what you're saying, but I also think that with these guys back then, Gastineau, he was so good at sacking the quarterback that his first 3 steps would have get into the backfield.
Agreed, but
and if he stopped along the way to get somebody, he did. If not, after a while, I wouldn't try to get anybody either.
But also think about the game was different then. You didn't throw the ball 50 times a game. So you're throwing the ball 20, 25, 30 times in a game. So if you're running 70 plays, so if you're taking the 3 steps upfield all day, in 40-something plays a game, you've just taken yourself out of those 40 plays.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah.
So, again, if he was playing in today's era, would he have more sacks? Yes. They throw the ball 50 times a game, 40 times a game. He would probably have 30, 35 sacks this season. That he was that good sacking quarterback.
You think he might have, but after a while, they're going to look at him and they're going to say that they got a double, maybe even triple team.
100%. I'm saying this: you would have
more be left unprotected.
You have unmolested. Right, but in those days, teams ran the ball 25, 30, 40 times a game. Two backs. It was a different ball game, and you needed to be more of an all-around player, Joe Klecko-ish. Even LT. LT was a sack artist. You didn't run at or away from LT. Guys weren't the specialists that they are today. Guys were two-way players. There were, think about it. There were very few guys, at least pass rush wise. There were probably guys who couldn't rush the passer. Don't get me wrong. So they were one-dimensional in that way, but they went after the quarterback. They had pressures. Gastineau, again, I can specifically remember 2 or 3 plays in my head where I remember him getting beat that way. So listen, to me, the guy you wanted, if you were playing in those days, the guy you wanted was Joe Klecko. Gastineau was great at getting to the quarterback, but at the end of the day, if you only got 20 chances at that and you're getting there one time, to me the ends don't justify the means.
Well, listen, I hear you. What's up there, Christopher? Merry Christmas to you.
Chris, Merry Christmas to you too. So
you got to also, Tom. A guy like
Michael, Derek Thomas was great. Don't get me wrong. Lawrence
Taylor was definitely better than
Lawrence Taylor was the best of all time. Derek Thomas was phenomenal, both way player. He was right up there, top 5 all time. But guys like Lawrence Taylor, and Derek Thomas, great players without a doubt. You can't take that away from them. They also played off the ball. Sure.
So they had a couple yards to make a decision to get involved in the game in a different way. Where defensive linemen don't have that luxury. They can't sit around and wait to see what happens. They got to try to get in there. And I'm not trying to justify what he did.
Yeah.
I'm just, think about it. If you're a linebacker, what are you, 7 yards off the ball, maybe more?
Well, it depends on nowadays it's not the same. Nowadays, that back then I should say, they were lining up on the line, they were yard back, yard off. It depends on, if you were Carl Banks, you were on the line, head up on the tight end. If you're Lawrence Taylor, you could be a yard off, yard on. You could, there was different ways to move those guys around. It's a little different the way they set it up.
Well, of course, now linebackers, they call them defensive end, linebacker, high position, whatever.
Sure.
But meanwhile, they're not true defensive ends. They're linebackers.
Correct. And it also depends on in the scheme you're playing. If you're playing in a 3-4, it's a stand-up linebacker. They could Lawrence Taylor put his hand in the dirt and he became a defensive end. To me, it's outside linebacker. It's played differently than a position that Gastineau played. He had his hand in the dirt. He wasn't asked to cover anybody. He wasn't asked to chip on the tight end. He wasn't asked to take the back out of the backfield. Put your hand in the dirt, and
that's why they played 4-3
and played a gap.
They played 4-3.
Correct. Yeah. So it's a different ball game. But listen, watch the documentary. You see a lot of
I gotta find it. I'll have to tell my wife.
It's on ESPN all the time. If you got ESPN on your screen, which I'm sure you do, get it, find it, DVR it, and sit down and watch it. It's got a lot of old clips, and you see the four of them together. It's pretty cool.
But now we got to get to something more important, man.
All right, what's more important?
You know what it is, Tom.
I have no idea.
You want me to tell you? Want me to spell it out for you, Tom?
Do you really want to talk about me smacking that ass last week? You want
me to talk about how I'm in the playoffs? You're in the consolation round. Is that it?
No, Lad McConkey is not Phil's son. I looked it up. He's not. And listen, you are lucky the season ended because I was on a 4-game roll. I just spacked that ass. You will be spiraling in the playoffs. You will get beaten by bees knees this week and be out.
Stop talking to me, you fucking peasant.
That's the truth.
You fucking peasant.
Okay.
You're not in my bracket, bro.
You got that ass smacked.
Not in my bracket. Yeah. So what? So Detroit. Does that mean they're not Super Bowl contenders? Is that what you're saying?
Well, right now,
you're saying yes or no?
Well, they would if Montgomery was playing. It's so would you if you had Montgomery. Oh God! And I got the other healthy back who went from projected 14 points to projected 19 points because he's going to play.
I got to let Frank Jeffrey in on something. Frank Jeffrey, I have a confession to make. When I drafted Tua this year in the fantasy league, okay, I always thought about letting him go. I refused to cut Tua simply because I did not want you to pick him up. I was afraid that you were going to pick him up, and I wanted to stash him benched on my team, never once to see the light of day. When he was injured and they were talking about him retiring from football, I was this close to letting him go, but I just couldn't do it. I was afraid you would have swooped in like an eagle, picked him up, and I just couldn't live with myself that way, man. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't do it. I would not do it. And I would do it again if it prevented you from getting it.
Frank, I just also want you to know, Frank, as co-commissioner of the league, somebody here tried to get me to trade my running back to him this week, just for the record.
Catalano, you're fucked up. I can't believe you would do that.
Frankie, I'm telling you, he tried to get me to trade Jahmyr Gibbs to him, and I said, absolutely not.
Hey, listen, I'm happy with what I got.
You should be. You've had a great season. You finished in third place.
And next year, I'm throwing it out there. I know there's some guys in the league right now, but I am extending the offer to you once again to have you on as my special teams coordinator. I'll allow you to pick the kicker this year and defense.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's a great offer.
Frank Jeffrey, I wouldn't have picked Aaron Rodgers if he was the only quarterback in the league, bro. I'm sorry. Oh my God, that was a bad pick. I remember making that pick and talking about that pick the night of the draft. And when you made that, I was like, I can't believe this. Of all people, this is who we picked. Oh my God. Hey, listen, It was a fun year.
I got off to a rough start at 0-4. Thank God for Catalano, or I would have been in the basement. And I rebounded. I went 8-3 the rest of the way. Hopefully, I'll get a win this week. But I couldn't be happier with my team and my moves along the way. And by the way, I'm in second place, although I'm getting my head handed to him this week by Frank Jeffrey. I am 7-2 or 8-2 in my hockey league. So I am now expanding to the baseball league. I've been drafted into Paul Gill's fantasy baseball team, but first baseball league, which I got to tell you, there are more rules. I need an interpreter.
I would love to watch. I would love to know how you picked a hockey team and what exactly is entailed with fantasy hockey, because of course I know the game. I haven't watched it in years, and I know there's been some rule changes, but just how the fuck does that work, man?
I tell you what, it's a week-long game. The game lasts all week. So it starts on Sunday, I guess ends on Saturday, or starts on Monday, ends on Sunday, however it starts. And you get anything for points for winning face-offs and hits and all that. To be honest with you, all I do is make sure that I have somebody starting at any position I can every night. Other than that, I couldn't tell you half the guys I got. I've tried to watch a few games. I try to keep up on it now. But when I made the draft, I was just going by best players available.
If you don't know what's going on.
Mikey, good luck to your team tonight, my brother.
And listen, Cortland, go Cortland, man. Go Cortland. I got him starting myself. May he have a fucking 90-point night, please.
But I got a few tips from Frank Jeffrey on a few things, and it turned out so far so good. And I'm second place. And maybe drop into 3 after I get my ass whooped by Frank Jeffrey this week, because he's on a roll this week.
Well, I would. You got to explain it to me, man. I'm sure it's fun, but you got to know your players, man.
You know what, dude? You think so? I got to be honest with you. I don't know half the guys on my team. I try to pay attention to the teams. Like I said, once you draft, the best thing you can do is just go out there and look and see who's out there. You grab a couple guys, and they get points. I mean, I think this week I've already got a whole bunch of points. Not one goal my team has scored, but I've got a ton of points because everything's points. So the only Dolphins make the playoffs. The Broncos. Listen, lose the next 3 games, I'm not sure, but the Broncos have every chance of losing a lot of games. So, but it's fantasy hockey is fun. I got to be honest with you. I've enjoyed. I wish the Rangers were doing better and probably making it a lot more fun. So I'm going to try my hand at baseball with Paul. He asked me to get involved. It's a very I mean, they actually have you draft minor league players. You got to know know the sport, man. You got to know the players. You got to know so much stuff. 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks home. I'm going to get a couple of baseball magazines. Start going through and It's tough.
Oh, I just don't. I mean, I understand the game of hockey. I used to watch it all the time. I knew so much about it, but I mean, there's just there's so much that's involved, man. You get points for there's points for all different things: face-offs, hits, and assists, and goals, and the goalies. And it's fun. Anytime I can do stuff like this with my buddies, it's fun. So I'm having fun doing this, Frankie. It's the Jeffrey Cup. You win it. That's the trophy is the Jeffrey Cup. So I'm all in. And like I said, I'll do the baseball, and then we'll negotiate in the offseason. Maybe we'll re-tag team up if I get a better role than just picking a kicker. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, good luck to all the teams in the playoffs. It was a fun season, and one thing I wrote in an email. I guess nobody saw it. Was, hey, thanks for everybody staying with it till the end. A lot of times in these leagues, the bottom 2 or 3 guys just give up. I think Iggy Mo, his team was terrible, and he was still making moves the last week of the season. So there was a lot of guys making moves the last couple of weeks of the season, and I was actually surprised at some of the ones that were making it. And you know what? Listen, Frank, I know that you're a big advocate of the sport, and you know what's going on, same as Matt. And I was surprised, but I wasn't. Where these guys finished amongst the league. It just goes to show you that in the NFL, if the right guy comes along and he gets hurt, it could damage a team.
Sure.
If somebody steps up a little bit, and a perfect example is that guy from San Francisco. I forget what his name is, the running back.
Yep.
I picked him, and I told you I got the hottest guy in the league.
Yep.
Of course, his second game playing, he got hurt.
Yeah.
He has a foot injury, but he scored like almost 25 points in the first game as a starter. So, when they say next guy up, you never know who's going to be the one that steps up. It's unbelievable.
You don't know. Like I said, first 4 weeks of the season, Joe Burrow couldn't get me 6 points. After that, these guys been on fire, getting 50-something points. I had Devontae Adams. I was going to sit him. He got me 45 points. I mean, it's ridiculous. So you just never know. And you just put the best team out there and you have some fun. And, honestly, for me, I don't know about yourself, but for me, every week, I'm watching the games. I got my laptop right next to me, and I'm checking the game as I go along. And, I was actually sitting there. My wife's going, "What are you so worried about?" I got to beat Jeff. I can't let him beat me twice in 1 year. I got to beat Jeff. I don't care what happens. I got to beat Jeff. And she said, "I guess you beat Jeff." I said, "Why?" She says, "You're actually singing right now." I said, "Yeah, I got I'm kicking his ass."
Yeah, fuck. And then it turns out my kicker from Atlanta, right, was doing great all year round. Fucking injured. I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, it's that time of year, especially this late in the season when teams are good and they sit their players and you're desperate for the guy to play. It is what it is. So all good, but let's move off from sports for a few minutes. I do want to talk about the main thing. And now I did not see this thing about Dave Murray might retire. I did notice Nico retired. So let's talk about Nico first and then the impact that Dave Murray retiring would have, Jeff, because we're both big Maiden fans. We both talked about maybe going to next year's tour, which with all the retirements could be their final tour. I'm not sure at this point.
Dude, with all the retirements, there may be no tour.
So let's talk about the impact of. So when we think of Maiden, we think that Nico is the main drummer. I think we both would say the guy's there for close to 40 years. But there was another drummer who was actually on the first 3 great albums. Where do you rank Nico? Is Nico the drummer for Iron? Like when you think of the Iron Maiden 20 years from now, we're sitting there with bullshit. Do you say Nico was the drummer because he was there 40 years ago? Do you say, well, Clive has also got a stake in that, and because he was there for the first 3 major albums? How do you look at Nico's career in Iron Maiden?
Oh, Nico McBrain was the drummer from Iron Maiden, without a doubt, because remember, say whatever you want to say about Clive Burr. Clive Burr was great.
Yeah, solid player.
We all recognize Clive Burr's spot in the band. He was there for the first album, which didn't really do much.
No.
They started to catch attention with the second album, Killers. Okay. By the time Number of the Beast came out, people knew who Iron Maiden was.
Yes.
They were on the cusp of becoming a national band themselves and playing out and doing everything that they had been doing. They weren't where they were just yet, but they were a big band in their own right. Okay. Then Nico came. They didn't lose a step. They did not lose a step. They put out one of their best albums with Peace of Mind. A lot of people consider it their best album. They didn't get progressive too bad yet. They were starting to get progressive at that point in time. Songs like To Tame a Land, Where Eagles Dare. These were long songs, so like more progressive length songs than anything. Great stuff nonetheless. But, Revelations, this was some good stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like Power Slave came out where they really kind of went off the deep end as far as going towards a progressive way.
That was the banana peel on the stage. You were skidding down the runway of progressive when that album started, and then it just got worse and worse and worse from there.
Yeah. But I mean, by the time the opening song for Peace of Mind, Where Eagles Dare.
Yep.
Let people know that this is Nico McBrain. He's our drummer.
Yeah. Very good point.
Thank you, Clive, for what you did. But this is who we got now. And he came out of the gate, and the people never look back.
No, you're 100% right. Like it's one of the few bands you could probably think of and say the guy who replaced the original guy And it wasn't like the guy from Rush who was there for one album, and was it John Ruddsey? Nobody knows
his name.
John Ruddsey, I think is his name. Clive Burr was there for 3 albums, and for the explosion of Iron Maiden. I mean, when Maiden hit Number of the Beast, that was it. They were the shit for at that point. So for Nico to come in now, again, it wasn't like it didn't happen immediately. Nico was the guy immediately. So to me, I agree with you. Nico is the drummer for Iron Maiden. That's no disrespect to Clive Burr.
No,
it's just he's had the job for forever. And you're right. I never thought of it that way. It's a super great way to say it. That was the announcement that Nico is the new drummer, and here he is. Because when he comes out and you hear a it is like boom, and nothing's changed. So that's a great point by you on that one. But now, there's been no talk of Maiden retiring. Nico's played his last show already. He's had some health issues. He's a little older than the rest of the guys. They've already tapped Steve Harris's drummer from his solo band as the new drummer. Couldn't even tell you his name.
Simon something. I can't remember his last name.
Again, I've heard their album. I have no idea if he's a good drummer or not. I've heard their albums. I don't know if he's a great drummer or not.
It's hard to digest that British Lion. It's not. Yeah, it's not. I heard 1 or 2 songs that I liked, and I downloaded the album. And I never went back to it. It's just among the other thousands of albums that I have on my phone.
I have it. I've listened to their stuff. I've listened to some of their live stuff. Again, maybe we get what's the right word? We hear Steve Harris's name and you expect it to sound like Iron Maiden, and it doesn't sound like anything like Iron Maiden. It doesn't sound even remotely like Steve Harris. It's very tinny. There's a lot more guitar, and the guitar sounds aren't great. It's not terrible. It's just not Iron Maiden. And I think for me, it just feels like it's Steve Harris's attempt. He's trying hard not to sound like Iron Maiden because he writes for Iron Maiden. You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
Yeah, and it's not like I would almost say I would love it if he was trying to replicate early Maiden with this band, because the new Maiden doesn't sound like that, and it was his opportunity to play old Maiden type stuff, but doesn't sound like anything like old Maiden.
I don't think that he's not in the vein of old Maiden anymore. That's gone. That was a younger man, a different musician writing that stuff. It wasn't who Steve Harris is today.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. So
completely different.
So now, let me ask you. So we always talk about when the guys leave the band, there's a certain point you got to go. It's over and done with. With Nico leaving and the band continuing, does that affect whether you would? And don't get into the Dave Murray yet. Next week they announced they're going to be at the Prudential Center or the Garden, and it's it's a regular it's a throwback tour, but it's not their final tour. Does the Nico not being there sway you in not going at all?
It makes me think. Does make me think. I'm not going to lie. It does make me think. I would want to see and hear some of what this guy is doing.
Right.
Is he going to play? Iron Maiden, just like Rush and a lot of other bands that have lost a member, or a member has quit, or whatever the case is, they retired, like there's certain members that you cannot replace.
I agree.
You can't take Black Sabbath and replace Tony Iommi. You can replace almost every other member of that band. You can't replace Tony Iommi.
Okay.
And be successful. It's just not going to happen.
I agree.
Okay. To me, that also means that this drummer is going to come in. Unless they start recording new material, nothing that he plays is going to be his own. It can't be his own. He
Correct.
Can't put licks there. Maybe he hits an extra cymbal or something, whatever. He has to play more than 95% of that drum beat from start to finish the way it was written. He can't really deviate much off of it. It's not what the people want to hear. If they start doing Innocent Exile, do you want, and that's, do they even do Innocent Exile? Okay.
Good question.
Yeah. Is this something that, you're going to want to hear this guy, like he's going to put his own fill someplace? I don't think that I want to hear that. That's not what I want to hear. It's not what I'm used to hearing at this point in time. I don't want to hear that. So it might, if this drummer, if they turn around and they're like, listen, make it yours. You're the drummer now. Make it yours.
Hmm.
You know, if I was him, I'd be like, you know what? I'm getting to play. I'm taking the place of one of the greatest metal drummers of his time. I'm not going to say of all time, one of the greatest metal drummers of his time.
Yeah.
I'm going to play his stuff exactly the way he played it. You know, if I
Yeah.
wanted to be in a strictly original band, I would have said, no, I want to stick with British Lion and see where this takes me.
Right.
Okay. I am now, for all essence, in the ultimate Iron Maiden cover band,
Okay.
so to speak, you know, with
Yeah.
Yannick Gears, you know, Bruce on his second stint
Mhm.
after a vocal change, Adrian Smith leaving and coming back, you know,
Yeah.
the whole band getting older. It's just another reminder, dude, that everything that we looked at and listened to and everything that we did as kids is slowly fucking fading away, man.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Slowly
Which
fading
is
away.
which is a reason why we should go. But let me ask you now. Let me put this into another context. Let's say Dave Murray retires before that tour. Now I would hope that he's going to do another tour and maybe call it a quits after that. If this is all true, I have no idea. I just went through Blabbermouth. I didn't see it before the show, so doesn't mean it's not true or not. But if Dave Murray retires, for me, now I love Steve Harris. Don't get me wrong, and I think Bruce is great. But growing up, Dave Murray was my guy. He still is. To me, I love Dave Murray. I love the way he plays. I love the sounds. Dave Murray was my guitar player growing up that I loved watching, and because I love Maiden. I would have a tough time if I got to go to a Maiden show and it's Steve Harris, Yannick Gears, Adrian Smith. I'm not sure I'm going anymore.
It's hard to deny that. I mean, do you replace him? Do you go after somebody else to replace him?
I think the answer is no. See, that to me has got to be a no. You got two guitar players already. If you bring a third guitar player in, there's no reason for it, in my opinion. Do you agree?
To an extent, yeah, I agree with you. But to an extent, I don't, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Okay, one, when you say that you had two guitar players already, yes, you're right. Yannick Gears was brought in to replace Adrian Smith, not Dave Murray.
Correct.
You have two Adrian Smiths right now.
Okay.
Okay, so do you keep two Adrian Smiths or do you find a Dave Murray? And if you don't find a Dave Murray, is Adrian Smith asked to play the Dave Murray parts? Is Yannick Gears assuming that he's going to be playing the Dave Murray parts as well as his own part?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Iron Maiden has three guitar players for basically over 30 years at this point in time.
It's a little short. 1999. I think they got back together in 99.
So 25 years.
Yeah.
25 years. They're a 50-year band.
Yeah.
Half the time was spent with three guitar players.
I agree with you. But do you?
As a matter of fact, Adrian Smith was in the band the first 25 years. He wasn't there. Dennis Stratton was there. Then he came into the band. Then he left. That's why Yannick Gears got replaced.
He was gone for 10 years at that point. Sure.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. Like, what is his standing? You know,
I would say this for me. There would be no reason to bring a third guitar player. The only reason they had three guitar players is that Steve never wanted to throw Yannick out, but wanted Adrian back, and the guys were happy to have the third player. To bring another, let's say, call it an unknown guitar player. Let's say they want to bring the guitar player from British Lion. To me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, to me, go back to being a 5-piece band. You got two guys who've been in the band for 25 years together. I don't think you need a third guitar. We both have said on the show, Yannick Gears is just eye candy. The guy just bounces around, throws his guitar, hops and stuff. And I would be thrilled if I got to see a tour where Yannick Gears wasn't a part of the band, to be honest with you. So
yeah, he doesn't. To me, I lost track of the band for a long time. After that, you know, I mean, yeah, I've always loved the older stuff, but even the older stuff I stopped listening to for a number of years. But I'm back into it with the older stuff and you know, but the pre-Yannick stuff. But like, where do you the stuff with Yannick is? It wasn't interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like there was no hook to it. There was nothing.
I agree.
Like, wow, I got to fucking listen to this.
No, listen, there's a couple, you know, on those X Factors and there's a couple of decent songs, but for the most part, I'm telling you, Brave New World. If you listen to that, that's a great album. It's got it. That is as close to an old fashioned Maiden album, but still too progressive. But still got some. After that, it gets steadily. You get to the point where there's one song on an album. Speed of Light's only song on Book of Souls, and there's
Speed of Light is a cool song.
Yeah,
I like Speed of Light.
there's again, but you're going through an entire Maiden album. In the old days, you go through a Maiden album and there may be one bad song on an album. Now you're going through an Iron Maiden. Now you're going through an Iron Maiden album, and there's one good song on the album.
I totally agree.
But for me, if Dave Murray walks away, I say this. I'll say this one time. I will go see Maiden at least one more time, no matter who's in the band, because I want to see Iron Maiden one last time. Now, I saw them. The last time I saw them, I was with you and your brother and Paul at the Prudential Center. It was great. It was a great show. It was well worth it. I will go see Maiden one more time. If at that point or after that Dave Murray is gone, I don't know if I'd go to another Iron Maiden tour unless it was absolutely the final tour. Then I'd have to think about it. But because to me, as much as Steve Harris is Iron Maiden, Dave Murray is Iron Maiden. He's been there forever. I mean, close to the 50 years. It's 45 years he's there. To me, Dave Murray is almost as much Iron Maiden as Steve Harris. It's just
he's been on every record.
Yeah,
as well as Steve Harris.
Yeah, and
he's the only member that has been in the band from the beginning with Steve Harris as Iron Maiden. Yes, there's been other guys in there, but when you think of Iron Maiden, nobody's even bringing up Dennis Stratton.
No, one album, Dennis, and don't get me wrong. To be honest, there is nothing. I really don't know the reason why Dennis Stratton didn't stay with the band. I know I've heard the story, but that first album, the guitars on that album are just as good as any guitars on any Maiden album.
Well, you know what, Frankie,
I'll talk to you, pal. Merry Christmas to you, brother.
I'm not going to say I disagree with it, but they were doing a different kind of music. It was
100%. But
Number of the Beast doesn't get written with Dennis Stratton in the band. I don't know if Killers gets written with Dennis Stratton in the band.
I agree with you, but name me a bad song on that album: Phantom of the Opera, Sanctuary, Running Free, Iron Man.
You don't have to ask me. There is no bad songs on that album.
So I understand it's a different sounding album. So I agree with you. The sound changed the next album when Adrian Smith came in, had the classic couple albums after that. So I'm with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But those first three albums, nobody ever says, well, the first three albums are great, except the fact that Dennis Stratton's on the first album. You don't even talk about it for the most part, that there's a different guitar player on that album than Adrian Smith. Most people don't.
No, of course not.
But to me, you're right. It's the same. To me, it's the same deal. That band doesn't become that band does not become Number the Beast without the changes that were made.
Have to, of course.
Yeah. But I
can't sing that stuff. He wouldn't be able to do it.
Correct. And again,
just the opening scream in what is it? Was it not Run to the Hills? Number the Beast.
Number the Beast.
I couldn't imagine Paul Tiano ever doing a scream like that.
No, it ushered in a different era, and it's fine. But to be honest with you, it ushered in an era that really started to begin the downfall of Iron Maiden. If Diano stays there and they follow on the track of Killers, maybe they don't get to the heights because they don't create Number the Beast. But we may have had more albums that sounded like Killers for more years because they got to the progressive side because of what Dickinson can do. So I think it was obviously great for those next two albums, but I also think it led to the progressive side of Iron Maiden because of his voice.
It is possible, but also think of this too, okay? Think whatever you want, say whatever you want. Steve Harris went and formed British Lion for a reason. Okay. He was playing in Iron Maiden. He could have taken that band in any direction he wanted to. Evidently, he's the one making the major decisions of that band, and nobody could really argue with him. That's already proven. Okay. But if he was able to do or thought he was able to do the things he could with Maiden, I don't think that he would have British Lion on the side. Now, maybe it sounds like he put out an album that I know there was some time apart in between each one of those albums. They went a number of years
Yeah.
with without doing something, but a different bed. It's almost like comparing Metallica to say like Priest or Maiden and be like, yeah, that they sound a little bit more hungry. They're doing different things. That Steve Harris wanted to play something a little bit more mellow, so he went this way.
Right.
And he formed Iron Maiden. Like Metallica, he went so far with Metallica, but now it's time to step outside the box. That's why we got Maiden. I think I use that analogy for British Lion. You're in Iron Maiden. You want to do something else. You don't want to be the focal point of the band and everything else. So let's make British Lion. And I don't know exactly how successful British Lion was.
Right.
And, like, were they playing to, 5,000 seat arenas and, with Steve Harris walking in the lobby of these places, getting a Coke before the show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, no, listen.
they know the answer to that, not us.
No, you're 100% right. Like I said, I listen. All those things have to come to it. Now, listen, there are bands like Stones that are 80 years old. They're still pumping out there. People are filling arenas to see them. So it's theoretically possible that Maiden can hang around another 10 years. It's possible. I don't see it. I think it's a different type of music, and the way they did it is a lot different. But
I think just the fan base is what kept the Rolling Stones around more so than this fan base from Iron Maiden. While Maiden is in their late 60s, Nico was in his early 70s, it's a completely different thing. Like, do you want to be 65 years old going to a metal concert? Are you going to hold up going to a metal concert? Whereas you go see the Stones, it's a different story, man.
Speaking of which, I just scrolled on Facebook and Keith Richards turned 81 yesterday. So
yeah, unbelievable. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, but so I will say this. Like I said, I want to see Maiden. I'd love to see them stay together. For me, for the amount of time they tour and stuff, I don't know why you would retire. But I guess after a certain while, traveling is a pain in the ass, and maybe just doesn't appreciate it anymore. I don't know if he's got health issues, but to me, when Dave Murray retires, I almost think that Maiden should just. I hope that they walk away together. I hope it doesn't piecemeal to the point where it's Yannick Gears and Steve Harris with a bunch of guys from British Lion touring as Iron Maiden. Like that would, to me, that would be sad.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I agree with you, but to me, that would be sad. Like that would be like, Ozzy and Tony touring as Black Sabbath with two guys you never heard of. It's like,
well,
all right.
They actually did that. So
I get it, but so to me, that's go out the way they went out, and do it as long as you can. But to the point, at some point, you lose a couple of key guys, and you got to go. Yannick Gears walks away tomorrow. Keep going. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm all in. And that's no knock on him. He's a great guitar player, but to me, he's not. To me, even though he's there for 25 years, he's not synonymous with Iron Maiden. To me, Murray and Harris, even I wouldn't want them to go on without Dickinson. Don't get me wrong. So I'm with that. I don't want to see another singer. I lived through Blaze Bailey, who's a nice guy, and I got a good voice, but it just wasn't Iron Maiden. To me, if you can't keep these guys together going forward, then it's time to walk away.
I agree.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we're certainly going to see, and we'll keep reporting on it. But to be honest with you, I scrolled through Blabbermouth before the show. I did not see any inkling that Dave Murray may walk away from Iron Maiden at some point. I'm going to Google it right now. Just right.
I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah,
I'm beating it to the punch.
Go for it, my man.
Dave Murray, the chief meteor. That's different Dave Murray.
Yeah.
Dave Murray from
I don't see anything in about Dave Murray from Wikipedia. There's nothing popping up in stories about Dave Murray may retire. Nothing. Nothing at all.
Dave Murray, a founding member of Iron Maiden, has stated that the band has no plans to retire after the completion of their Book of Souls World Tour. However, he has left the band due to a newfound passion for competitive knitting.
So nothing there so far. So we'll see. We'll keep our ears open. I don't know where Catalano got that from, but
No,
again,
I saw he posted it. I did see it, man.
all right, yeah. Well, I don't doubt Catalano's. He's a guy who he pays attention to this stuff. So, hey, Michael, you too. Merry Christmas. See you on the next one.
What's that?
Michael,
Mike, be good, man.
all right.
Good.
So
Merry Christmas to you.
I want to do a little talk about Juan Soto, but I do want to get in some football. First off, I don't know if you watched the Bills Lions game this weekend, Jeff. At all? Did you?
I was
catch
following it because I was praying for Montgomery to rip a fucking 98-yard fucking touchdown run, but evidently he was busy getting hurt.
He was too busy blowing out his knee.
Yeah.
So again, you know what? That is a really good team. Now they've taken it tough. Montgomery's out. Hutchinson's been out. Might get back for the Super Bowl.
Like 13 defensive injuries.
Yeah.
Defensive players to spend time. They got to watch, man.
No, it's definitely hurting their chances right now. There are other teams starting to play well. The Rams have played okay. There's some teams out there that can challenge. I still think the Lions are the better team, but watching the Bills, you see how great that team can be. And the AFC is much better. My point of it is, again, you know, they're down 2 touchdowns. They got 12 minutes left in the game, and for some reason, Dan Campbell decides to onside kick it. Now, don't forget, onside kicks nowadays, Jeff, are different. You have to announce it. Teams have to line up differently, and they onside kick it, and the guy from the Bills catches the ball and almost scores a touchdown on it. And I didn't understand it. And with 12 minutes left, you're starting to play really well. It just didn't make any sense to me why he would onside kick it there. There was plenty of time. So my only point is the Lions are a good team. There's a really good chance they could get to the playoffs and do some damage and make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think the Lions can win with Dan Campbell as their coach. If he's the guy with the X's and O's.
Somebody definitely has to speak with him. Listen, here's the thing. When you're watching football as opposed to being on the field as a coach,
yep,
you may be getting input from other coaches, other players. You may turn around and say, you know, listen, number 35 over there, he's not even touching me on fucking on kickoffs, man. He's just, I'm blowing right past him. You don't know what they see. You don't know what input he's getting.
Sure.
Maybe they tell him something and be like, listen, this guy's slow. He's limping. He's this, he's that. You know, I can push past him. Whatever the case is, you know, it's a clear out of the blue play. We're going to hit him with a fucking, but I guess when you're telling him that you're going to do an onside kick, you know, and there's only so much surprise there that you already let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, there is no more surprises. And it was just a bad spot for it.
I do think that was a team that was hot for a very long time, and they just, you know, cooled down.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's when you get hot, and that's obviously the case. They were the best team in football up till a couple weeks ago, and yes, they've had a lot of injuries. They still have a good team. I still think they can make the playoffs, but Dan Campbell's got to start thinking, I can't coach every game the exact same way. The guy goes for it on every fourth down. I mean, you got a good defense. Punt once in a while. Play defense. Run the football a little bit more and try to hold on to the football. He just, it's like watching a Madden game. So we'll get to the playoffs hopefully right before the end of the show. I want to talk about Juan Soto, but right now, what I really want to talk about is Bill Belichick. And
while you're bringing this up, I just got to get a drink. My mouth.
Go ahead. Go do your thing. So again, Hot Rocket Sports. That's Jeff and I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night, and we wish you guys a Merry Christmas. We'll be here next Thursday night. At least I have all plans on being here. I'm pretty sure Jeff's available. We'll do the show, and I don't know when he comes back. I'll ask him if we're doing the year-end show next week or we're doing it the week after. We usually do the year-end show. Jeff does the dead list, and it's usually the last Thursday before New Year's. This is almost a week in advance. New Year's is the day. The next show would be the day after New Year. So I'm not sure how we've settled that. But if you stick around for that next two shows, we'll do our year-end show somewhere in there, and then we'll kick off the new year with Hard Rocket Sports like we do every year. And these next 3 shows, on the next 2 shows, I will be on vacation, so that's always a good thing. I don't get too many vacations at this time of the year, so it's nice to have. I hope you guys are going to have a great holiday break with your families. Hopefully, you all get to spend it with somebody you love, whether it's a group of 2 or a group of 22. Either way, just celebrate Christmas. It's a glorious time of the year, and something that you shouldn't take for granted, because what you do have, you could not have. Our buddy Frank Jeffrey knows that better than anybody. So, but we'll see. I don't know if next week will be the year-end show, or have we decided when are we doing the year-end show? Is it going to be next week, or is it going to be the Thursday after the first?
Oh, I think we're gonna have to see how the week goes. I mean, Christmas and New Year's right in the middle of the.
That's what I'm saying.
Even Christmas Day right in the middle of the week. It make preparations may be hard. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I know I got a lot of shit going on this week.
All right.
As do you, but I mean, listen, we could do a show, but it might not be the show we want to do.
I will be on the air next Thursday night. I have nothing going on.
I'll be with you, but I mean, it's just a matter of whether we're prepped to do a year-end show.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, either way, it doesn't matter. We could do it tomorrow. We could do it the following week. But the tradition has to live, and we expect to see the dead list at some point. And
without a doubt.
So, but we'll definitely be on the air, and we'll be celebrating Christmas and New Year's and all the good stuff. And again, I hope you guys are getting to spend it with your loved ones, and I hope you all have a great holiday. But I want to talk about Belichick, Jeff, and taking the job in college. And from all things that I've read and heard, it sounded like he made some inquiries, one to your Jet team and some others, and basically heard crickets, that nobody wanted to hire Bill to be their coach. And his one and only option was going back to college, or going to college. He's never coached in college before. So what's your thoughts of 72-year-old Bill Belichick going to North Carolina to be the head coach?
Well, I think that'll maybe on the coaching, the NFL level, maybe people, I don't know. Like, do you take him seriously? Do you think that, he's just like in the Jets case, hey, man, you need a coach? I hear you're looking for a coach. What do you think at that point in time? Like, get the fuck out of here. I wouldn't want him either. Well, but like, do you really believe him?
Well, I do.
You know what I mean?
I think if Bill Belichick reached out to the Jets and said, hey, do you have any interest in talking? I think if you're the Jets, you really should have listened. Now, I don't know if that actually happened. They say it did. I heard that he was going to get the Atlanta Falcons job last year, and Robert Kraft put the kibosh to it.
Oh, why? Because they said that
they had a bad ending. I think he called over and said, he's a pain in the ass. You can't deal with the guy. Blah 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 blah. And Arthur Blank wound up giving the job to Raheem Morris. That hasn't worked out great either. But I think Bill's thing is the problem is this: one, he's come across over the years as an asshole. Two, he's 72 years old, right? So a lot of teams don't want to say, all right, you're coming to be a coach for 2 or 3 years, and then you leave.
For 3 years, that means he's tied up with that team till he's 75.
That's the point.
You really want that?
No. So now, to me, if I could get Bill Belichick to come over and be president of football operations and turn my team into, something that resembles football culture and change things around and hire the right coach and hire the right GM and make sure things run the right way, I would be all in for it. I wanted the Giants to hire him. I wanted the Giants to bring him in, oversee everything, change the culture, make it so that, players have to work for their job and the coaches push the players, and that there's a culture of, what he did in New England will never be replicated.
No.
So to me, if you could bottle that and teach that and get guys to buy into that, I think it's a good thing. Now, he went to college. My problem for college is, here's a guy who's 72 years old. Yes, he's got the pedigree, he's got the whole thing. But if you're a high school senior, are you Belichick going to promise you that 4 years from now he's still going to be there? What about next year's class? when he's 73 years old. So to me, it's a hard sell in the college end. Like, how do you convince this 17-year-old kid that 4 or 5 years from now, you're still going to be his coach when you're 72 years old, Jeff?
Well, that's a little bit of a different situation to me.
Yeah.
I think that just about any high school kid going into college is going to jump at the chance to work with Bill Belichick, even if it's only for a few minutes. If he
That's
knows
a good way to look at it.
What's that?
That's a good way to look at it.
It's the only way to look at it, because what are you going to do? Like you just said, here's somebody, you're 18 years old. You just graduated high school. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that, this guy's going to be 76 years old and still here. I don't know. I don't know if I could believe that.
Yeah.
So but he's there today. And that's where we are. We're in it today. Does he help my career? Is he going to help me? Is he, what is he going to show me? I don't know. So it's a situation,
It's a valid point. Now he says he's gonna run it like a pro team. He's gonna instill pro offenses, pro defenses, and and build. If you want to be a pro, coming to him is the way to do it. To me, if my kid was going to college today and he had a chance to play for Bill Belichick for 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is for a year, like you said, I would jump at the chance if I were them.
Well, I think if you got the chance to play for Bill Belichick, I think you got to take it.
Sure.
So if you're a kid and you have the chance to play for him, I think you just got to turn around and say, I'm going to do it. Because one, where are you ever going to get the chance to play for a coach like Bill Belichick at that age? You know what I mean? At that point in time. So I could definitely see that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But you're also not playing what kind of program is, like you said, he might not even be there to see his first class
graduate. Yeah.
So you're like, I don't know.
That's the tough part. To me, that's the part that I would ask is, at some point, there's an outside chance that his very first class that he's gonna bring in next year, he doesn't see them graduate.
Yeah, it's a very good chance. So
chance. if you're a guy, so I say that's this year. Imagine next year you're trying to recruit. You're 72. How do you keep recruiting the next few years and guaranteeing kids that you're going to be the coach? Because right now it seems the heir apparent for him when he goes is his son Steve, who's a marginal defensive coordinator up in Washington. It's marginal. So
listen. Maybe he don't want to. If he's a Washington State,
he can college at the school Washington. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a hard sell, is right.
Yeah. So, and for Bill, I wonder. Like, here's a guy who's 14 career wins away from having the record for wins as an NFL coach. It has to be kind of hard to swallow that you can't get back into the league with the Chicago Bears, the New York Jets. I mean, teams that are just itching for a real coach, and he can't get back into the league.
Do you want to be a coach on one of those teams, Tom, if you're Bill Belichick?
I don't know, Jeff.
Do you want to go to the New York Jets? Do you want to go to the New York Giants? Do you want to go to the Chicago Bears? Some of these teams have sucked for years.
But here's the problem, Jeff. So how many chances you like? He's not going to coach the Detroit Lions next year. You gotta have to go to a bad team. Now maybe he could have stayed around. Maybe he could have coached the Dallas Cowboys next year. That's possible. I do hear rumors that Jerry Jones doesn't want to get rid of Mike McCarthy, which I can't imagine. But so I understand. But you're not going to get the best job because the guy who's coaching that team is still going to be there. So you're going to take a bottom feeder job, whether it's the Jets, Giants, the Bears, or the Carolina Panthers. You're going to get a job like that, and you got to find a way to win 14 games or 15 games.
Yeah, which I don't see that happening with those franchises. The Jets haven't won 14 games in years.
Yeah. So I think if you're Bill. See, I think his legacy is his legacy. Like he's most people are going to hate him, even his own players. Like I see like Julian Edelman and Gronk, they're always ripping on him. But the one thing they say is he's a great coach. So I think his legacy is cemented. Bill Belichick is a douchebag, but he was a great football coach who won 6 NFL Super Bowls as a head coach and 2 more as an assistant coach, where he was one of the best defensive coordinators of his time. So I think he doesn't need the 14 wins to validate him. So
no, he doesn't need the 14 wins to validate him. But you want to know something? As much as he's accomplished, there's somebody else that has a better record at something than him.
No, agreed.
And that somebody like Belichick that might not sit very good with.
And
turn around and be like, what is?
And the truth is, to be honest with you, we talk about records that never going to be broken. The way that coaches get fired after 2 and 3 years, I guarantee you, nobody beats Don Shula. He's got the only shot of beating Don Shula's record. I mean, Andy Reid's too old; he'll never get there. Who else is holding on to the job long enough to win 300 games at this point in their lifetime?
And he did it with one team.
Yeah.
Did it with one team.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I would think it'd be important to him, but to be honest with you, if he's reaching out to get the Jets job, if that's actually true, after his history, not only of walking away from the Jets when they want him to be the head coach, but the torture, he hated the Jets. He wouldn't even mention them by name in press conference. He hated the Jets so much. If he actually reached out, that shows to me how desperate he was to stay to get back into the NFL.
Yeah, and for what? Just that record? Does that mean that
I don't know?
Then he wins 14 wins. That's it. He's out.
No, Jeff. It could simply just be the guy wants to coach. I mean, it's all he's done for 50 years is coach football. So I think it's more. I don't think he needs 14 wins for the legacy. I just think the guy likes to coach football and be part of that. I think it's fun. I think a lot more people are going to watch North Carolina football next year. I know I will. I want to see what he does and how he coaches and how he handles that situation, because you're not dealing with, 25-year-old, millionaires. You're dealing with, 19 and 20-year-old kids. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And, to me, here's the thing. If he goes there, can he help his legacy by being good there? Or is it more apt that he can hurt his legacy if he loses there? Like, to me, he's already a great coach. If he goes there and even if he doesn't win a national title, but they go to the playoffs, they become a powerhouse a little bit, does that make him any better of a coach? But I think if he goes there and they're a bomb, does that hurt his legacy? What do you think?
I don't think it'll help his legacy, because, like you said, he's already done it on the highest level. It's like, okay, so you're going to college and you want to try it at the college level, but really, what are you getting done there? You've already done it at one of the highest levels, the highest level of the sport, your sport. What can you do now? You're not doing anything that, you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm with you. I think it's more like
a college championship to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did. I think
year after year.
Yeah, I think he can't make his legacy any bigger. But if he went there and it was a flop, I think it actually hurts his legacy.
Well, it's not going to help it, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. That I get. So it's interesting. I have to be honest with you. First off, I didn't realize. Did you know that he went out on tour with Bon Jovi? Like back in the 80s or 90s. He was a big fan, a big friend of Bon Jovi, and they actually took him to like Europe and for an entire tour, and he was hanging out with them and the Stones. Had no idea. Was a closet drummer. Used to
Belichick.
Yeah, and and I think he's done a lot. I know you don't watch a lot, and I watch the Monday night. The only time I watch the Monday Night Football game is if it's Jets Giants. Or the Manning cast is on, because I like the Manning cast. I don't like the regular broadcast. So I watch a lot of the Manning cast. I think it's very informative. It's funny. And when it's Belichick and the two Mannings, it's really kind of insightful. They talk a lot of real, in-depth. It's like geeky, nerdy football stuff. And
No,
enjoy it.
I don't watch
He's
it, to tell you the truth.
and he's done a really nice job. Kind of, I don't watch him on the McAfee show. I don't like McAfee at all. But on the Manicast, he not only does he show you how smart a coach he is, but he's got a little bit of a funny side, and he's done a nice job kind of cleaning that end of it up. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, Jeff, and him going to college and coaching now at 72 years old.
Well, we're going to find out sooner than you realize. You know.
Yep, absolutely.
Before you know it.
Hey, so we got Christmas not only less than a week away right now. We're about a little over a week away from the big show on the 28th. Is that still happening?
Right now, yes.
So give us the details. Like what time you guys going on? How many bands? What are we talking
about? I got a text message about that earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I could tell you. Let me get to the message. Dun, dun, dun. We will be going on at 9 to 9:45.
Okay.
Then the Jersey Misfits, and then No Class.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is the Johnny Collins band or any form of band that Johnny Collins in playing before your band?
No.
Okay. Because if Johnny Collins band or any form of Johnny Collins band is playing before you, that means your set could be anywhere from an hour to 3 hours late.
Well, it could be, but they sent a text message where Jeff Altieri sent it to me. Info for next Saturday. Load in is at 8. First band sets up on stage as soon as you arrive. You have 30 minutes to set up. Please do not go past your set time. Going past your time delays the band after you. So they're going to be pretty well on the bands.
Okay.
And the first band is 9 to 9:45, then 10:15 to 11, then 11:30 to 12:15.
Oh, so you're the first band of the night.
Yeah, we are the first band of the night.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Thank God is right. Yeah, there you go. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
It's going to be extremely busy for me. I got the 28th, the Morons. The 29th, I'm probably going to have 25 missions and mad practice in the same day.
Wow.
And then the 30th is the
jam?
the holiday jam.
Yeah, and by the way, I am off for that, which I've never been off before, other than the weekend ones. So I'm looking forward to being able to come out to the island a little early. Maybe we can go a little early. I know you working. Are you working that day? You're off still, right?
I'm off. What day is it? A Sunday?
Monday.
Yeah, I'll be off.
Yeah. So then maybe we could start. Maybe we can do the Tony's a little earlier than 4:00. Have a little extra time to hang out and all that good stuff. I'll throw it out to Bobby, the father Bob. He seems to be the most excited about getting together beforehand. So, but everybody will show up for a few minutes at the very least.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
I always am. I got to reach out to Ronnie. I'll reach out to Ronnie for Christmas like I do all the time, and I'll talk to him. Hopefully, I'm going to see if I can convince him to come with me. Since I'm home, I can go pick him up and bring him out with me. So I'll see if I can.
You live near him?
Yeah, he lives, I think, in either Marlboro or Manalapan, which is about a half hour. It's closer actually to your mom's house.
Yeah, Manalapan is close to my mother's.
Yeah, which is a little closer to your mom's house, but not. I'm up that way all the time. There's a couple of Italian food places. There's a lot of restaurants, and my wife and I go up that way. So, but I'll reach out to Ronnie, and I'm looking forward to. I gotta be honest. Like this 2 weeks before, I get so nervous before the jam. I just fucking do. I gotta
go. I gotta start learning some songs.
I've been doing nothing but playing. I learned the new song that Paul asked me to learn. Asked us to learn. The Ataris, the Boys of Summer. It's actually a pretty cool song. Easy.
Yeah, Paul. I went over the list, and Paul picked a lot of cool songs where he doesn't know it yet, but that's going to change.
Well, again, we could play them 10 times for all I care. So it'll be fun. But I have a routine. I'm learning all these new songs and going over them. And then this weekend I will go through all the songs top to bottom, kind of refresh my memory on some of the songs I haven't played. Was it Tush? Is it Tush? Yeah, Tush. haven't played that since you, myself, and Ronnie and Jimmy jammed.
Yeah,
So,
I'll have that one.
yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to the jam and just getting to see the guys. And it's as stupid as it sounds, folks. We got the word this week that we got the downstairs room, and if I tell you, you couldn't have seen 10 old, out of shape guys who were more happy about not having to climb the stairs than we were. So.
Hey, listen, if you get there early enough, you get the spot in the front. You roll out of the car right into the fucking building.
Dude, I'm off that day. I might sleep in front of John's studio that day. I have to call Dirt and ask him to hold the spot for me with a couple of garbage cans.
I got to, I'll be the one that brings the bottle.
Ah, yes.
Can't let that one slip past.
No, you cannot. I was trying to come up with something new this year. Last year we had the shirts and the photographer. I've been racking my brain to try to come up with something a little different this year, something special to do. I'm working on it, so I got a week.
I got something. I don't know if you want to try it though.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, this is something. What year is this? Up 11, 12?
This is number 11. Technically, it's number 11.
Technically, number 11. Okay, I know we didn't do it for a few years. Number 11. I think that we should call it. We're all still here. Fuck you, we're still alive.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. All right,
you may jinx for next year.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to be the first one to go sometime.
Well, this will be another year that we don't have the full crew. Although I did hear your brother say he might actually show up this year.
My brother is showing up. He's bringing his son to play.
Nice.
We have to learn.
What song?
Oh man, it's one by System of a Down.
Oh,
Aerials.
Oh, okay.
I'll learn it. I'll learn it. I'll play it with him.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad to see that Chris is coming back and Johnny Collins seems solid. So, you never know what John and his brain. Then Drew and Jimmy and all the guys will be there. So,
I got to tell you something off the air.
Okay.
We were at practice the other day, and Chris started mentioning. Well, we were talking about jamming certain days, and Chris drew out that date. And then I just looked at him, and then he realized what it was. There was somebody that wanted to get involved last year that you weren't too happy with. And then he was like, oh, I'm busy that day. I'm busy. I'm not going to be able to practice. I'm busy. I'm busy. Busy that day, like trying to cover it up. Like nobody heard, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but he knows the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He knows that like there's certain people that just ain't going to come. That's what there is to it.
Gotcha. So, oh, listen.
Which I gotta say, I can't blame you. But some people made it what it is. Yeah,
listen, some people just, it is like I said, the door's open. It's not wide open where anybody can come walking in. You kind of got to be invited in. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, listen, the vampire just can't walk in your house. You know what I mean? You got to be invited. Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, you get shot with garlic and holy water. So you got to be invited.
I get holy water, but it's just really piss.
In our crowd, we couldn't afford the holy water. No, we get near it. So.
Who's going to carry that around? Yeah. Even Bob has some questions on his resume.
Oh yeah, that's a questionable resume. but it's always a good time, and again, listen, it's always fun when everybody shows. The pictures are better when it's a full shot. I got a few years when it's like 5 of us, so I think now guys are making more of an effort to get there, and it's a good thing, and it's fun. If maybe one year we'll have my brother and Tommy Mormino and everybody, and it'll be one of those years where we get one full shot with everybody who was ever part of the crowd, but I doubt it.
Oh, listen, never say
there's always one guy who just can't seem to make it, and whether it's my brother or whoever.
Well, your brother has an excuse.
He has a pretty good excuse.
He lives 5,000 miles away.
That's very true. So
there's others that
I get it.
You just wish that they would make a little bit more of an effort,
Listen, your brother's been that guy for years. And he would always tell me I can't. It's my busy time, and the guy's been retired for 2 or 3 years now. There's been no excuse.
Retired for more than 2 or 3 years.
So now but either way, I'm glad.
But you got to remember this much: he does have a bunch of little ones.
That's,
around.
yeah, there's about 93 of them in that house at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
there are little ones involved.
That's very true. So I'm glad he's bringing the next generation with him. So that'll be fun, and hopefully
Yeah.
your brother will pick up the guitar and play a song or two at the least. So that would be nice too. I'm bringing 2 guitars with me this time, just to have an extra guitar in the house in case anybody wants to jump on. So I will bring an extra guitar with me, and like I said, I'm looking forward to it, and being off for the. I can't tell you how excited. You're used to being off at this time of the year. Like I've never been off at this time of year before.
Yeah, right now I'm off. I'm on vacation, as you know, and I've always been on vacation this time of year. And I was asked by somebody to consider working somewhere else.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some possible moves going on at work and shit.
Oh, wow. Okay. A different department?
No. Well, yeah.
Outside of.
No, it's a different department at work.
Oh, gotcha.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. But okay. I do know that the guy was like, well, I take Christmas off too. And I'm like, wait a minute. That would mean that I got to be there.
Yeah.
And, I haven't made the move yet. But too many things happen where I am that it may be like, you know what? As long as I'm not working Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, I don't really give a fuck. I'll go there. I'll cover vacations, whatever. But it is what it is.
I got you. Listen, you've built it up, and you should take advantage of it. So good for you. And I'm just happy that I'll be off. I get to come out a little early. Maybe I will come out to hang out at the Talwinski house for the afternoon and go to the thing with you and all that good stuff. There was actually a thought process at one point. I was this close to leaving town on Friday, flying to Florida, flying back Monday afternoon, do the jam, and then go straight to the airport to fly back to Florida. Dude, I was this close. It just got to the point where it was like ridiculously expensive. And I said, I can't do that. I said, so we're not going to Florida. So that's that's all that is to it. But again, that's how important this is to me. That I wanted to make sure that I don't get the chance to stand next to you with a guitar too often. So at the very least, I got to make sure that I'm there doing it. Get some new pictures, and I do like your idea for the shirt. So I think I'm going to try to pull the trigger on the shirts with the new saying.
Well, let me know. I'll give you something towards shirts.
Like I said, I'm trying to come up with something. I might.
We're all still here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Text me that phrase. Text me the phrase, okay? So I don't forget it. I'm gonna send an email out to the lady who does the shirts and see if I can pull that off right now. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. We'll see. But listen, guys, it's 9:15. I do have one more day to get up and go to work. Tomorrow, Jeff, I will call you and we will make some plans to play some Xbox or whatever, the PlayStation 5 baseball.
Yes, 5. Matter of fact, as soon as we're done, I'm going to go walk the dog, and I'm going to kick the people out of my spot over there and tell them that it's time they go elsewhere.
Okay.
Where they go, just leave my spot in the bed alone and get the fuck out of here.
There you go.
I'm playing.
So you enjoy it, and I will talk to you. I'll give you a buzz tomorrow. And in the meantime, everybody, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is our chance to say Merry Christmas to you all. We will not speak to you before Christmas. We will definitely speak to you after Christmas. But please be safe and have a great holiday. Enjoy it. Jeff, I will talk to you off the air, but officially on the air, Merry Christmas to you. My dad said to wish you a Merry Christmas to you and the family.
I've not spoken to your dad in weeks, man.
Yes, I know you with your problems.
Jesus Christ. I mean, like once I get on, everything is great.
Yes, it takes a little time, but once you get going, it's fine. You haven't had a blip since you got on.
No, thank God. Thank God.
But in the meantime, to you and everybody, Merry Christmas. I love you and your family, and I appreciate you guys being here every week with me. And to all of you people out there, listen, go out and shop. I was at Macy's in the city today on my lunch break. It was packed, so there is no problem with people spending money. Because if you saw the prices at the Macy's in the city, you would know there is no problem with people spending money. So.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but listen, go out there, hit your malls. I'll be hitting the Staten Island Mall tomorrow on my way home. In the meantime, make sure you go.
You're going to be in the mall. Oh wait, tomorrow I'm going up to the tree.
Oh yeah, I'll be in the city tomorrow. A good part of the day. In fact, I'll be up by my office is not far from the tree, and then dropping somebody off at home in Staten Island, and then I am gonna hit the mall for a quick spot, and then I'll be. Make my place my way to La Bella out by the mall, one of the best Italian joints you can get some fresh mutts and some pepperoni, and I'll be heading home from there.
Yeah, I got to get my stuff, man. I got to still get some stuff. I got to get fresh mozzarella,
Yep.
some provolone, pepperoni, supersada. My wife wants this year.
Nice.
Salami, ham, prosciutto. I got to find the right prosciutto.
Oof, gotta do it. So listen, get out there, get your stuff, enjoy your time with your family. Make sure you take a breath, take some photos, and enjoy it. The holiday is here and gone before you know it, and we're back into hating each other. But for now, and make sure you enjoy all of this. Enjoy the old shows, and make sure that you kiss somebody and tell everybody you say Merry Christmas. So. Again, guys, for Jeff and myself, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you all. Thanks to Frank Jeffrey and Catalano and Mike Bafulco and Chris and all the guys who popped in tonight. We love having you guys here. And please be safe and enjoy it. So for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, have a great night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, a great holiday. And come on back next Thursday night when Jeff and I do this all over again. Hefe, I will talk to you tomorrow off the air.
You got it, man. Be good, be safe, and enjoy, man.
You got it, pal. Thanks for everything. Talk to you later. Good night, everybody.